Welcome back, Nuggets! After 10 years of working in the serious games industry as a creative, I felt it was time for me to start to learn how to program. So a few months ago I started working on Wrenched, also known as Junkworld, which is a 3D bullet hell platformer set in a post-apocalyptic world. Now, for the past few months, and those of you who have been following along from the start, we've been looking at grey cube after grey cube after grey cube after grey cube. But for good reason. Although it doesn't make nice shots or great social media content, I always feel it's really important to nail a good portion of your gameplay before you start making art. And the same goes for designing levels and environments. Because before you start making models and throwing around props, you should really block out your level as simple as possible and get it feeling great. And so after I got what I think was a great level, it was finally time to go from this to this. And mind you, it's nowhere near finished, but it's a great start, I think. So let's take a look at what I did and how I did it. I already spoiled it at the end of the last devlog, but the first level theme I started working on is called the Sunken City, because it's, well, Sunken City. Loads of buildings submerged in a deadly sea. For this first theme, I have been making a ton of models in Blender and tried to make everything at least slightly modular. For the buildings, I modeled 4 types of buildings with different types of interchangeable floors and a roof, and then I modeled a bunch of small objects and props to be able to make junk. To texture all these models, I've been using a new technique I discovered recently called trim sheets. It has really sped up my process and I absolutely love it. Here's how it works. First, you make a texture with loads of different materials on it. Here, I have one with brick, some plaster, a whole window, and some concrete. Now, say I wanted to make a super simple, small brick structure thing. Just take a cube, add an edge loop for the roof, and add the trim sheet as the material. And now when I go and unwrap this model, I simply assign each face to the appropriate part of the trim sheet. This of course is a very simple example, but you can make it as complicated as you like. Another great benefit of this method is I can basically swap out textures with different materials and instantly change the color or the material of the model. I then slowly started replacing all the grey cubes and placeholders with all the models and props that I've been making, and it started looking amazing. Now, if you're thinking, why do the buildings keep changing and switching out models? That's because I'm using something called LODs, or level of detail groups. It's a great way to save on some processing power and one of the ways you can optimize your game. And it's actually really easy to do because Unity basically does it for you. Let me show you how. Here I have one of my building floors with a triangle count of 304. Now, if this building is shown far in the background, or in my case when it's behind thick fog, you might be able to get away with a lot less detail. And so I made a super simple, even lower poly version of this floor, and it only has 16 triangles, saving a whopping 95%. To let Unity know it has to make an LOD group, all you have to do is add _LOD and a number to show the level of detail. 0 being the most detailed model, and up to as many models as you like. I only have 2, so I'm using _LOD0 for the full model and _LOD1 for the simple model. Next, select both of them and export them as you would normally do. Now, when you go into Unity, you'll see it added the LOD group component, and you can tweak at which camera distance the models get swapped. Epic. Everything was coming together nicely at this point, and so I decided to do one more thing, something that I feel always adds a lot of flavor to a game? Clouts. As you can see, the clouds simply drift by slowly and randomly. To achieve this, I made a simple shader, which is basically just scrolling noise, and put it on a plane floating above the level. What it's doing, it's simply casting its shadow on everything below, making it look like clouds are floating by. This is the first shader that I 100% made myself, mainly because it's really easy. But that probably is also why it's not working the way I would like it to. I would love the clouds to have a soft shadow instead of a hard shadow like this, but I cannot get it to work. So if you know what I'm doing wrong, please leave a comment down below. There is so much more work to do on this one, but let me know in the comments what you think about it. And don't forget, while you're there, if you learned something new or if you like this video, hit that like button and triple jump on that subscribe button, as it really helps the channel and the game out. And if you like to chat after hours, consider joining our Discord. There's a link in the description down below. And that's all that I have for you today. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.